topics on a weekly basis.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to yet another Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy Word of 5 FM radio. We are so grateful that you found time to tune in. And of course, we are grateful also to our partner radio stations that are carrying this program live on their various platforms. We are grateful of Katete FM radio, and of course, based in Katete, covering Katete, Chadiza, Sinda, Lusanga, Mambwe, and Chupangali. We are also live on Ice FM in Kabwe, covering the Central Province on 91.1. By the way, let me make mention that Katete FM is on 103.3 FM. Okay, so Spice FM is on 91.1 in Kabwe and Central Province. Also ZFM in Kapiri, live on 100.3 FM, covering the greater part of Central Province going up north. And of course, live in Ndola on Platinum Radio, that is on 99.7 rather, and covering the rest of the Copper Belt. We are so grateful. Up north, we are live in Mansa on Tuta FM, and of course, covering the rest of Luapula Province. And so we are also live on our Facebook page. That's 5FM Radio Zambia. Follow that page and like it, share it, and leave us a comment if you like. And also our YouTube channel is active. We are live on it. That is 5FM Zambia. I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. My guest today is Mr. Hari Kalaba. He is president of Citizens First political party. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. And we are grateful that you came.
Thank you very much for having me, Zach. I'm always also happy to be on the Happy World.
Indeed.
Of 5FM. It's a privilege.
It's home now. No?
Home away from home.
That's right. That's right. And how is Citizen Party doing?
Well, our party has continued to make strides. We are just coming from 2 by-elections in Northwestern. Solwezi, I was there.
Yeah.
And I must report that we are making tremendous progress as a party, especially in areas which were considered to be pro-UPND areas. The CF is making inroads, and we have to pat ourselves on the back. Somebody was telling me, no, but how can you celebrate you didn't win the elections? It's not a question of winning for us. It's a question of making inroads. It's a question of making strides. And we are making those strides in Northwestern Province. Remember, Kimasala Ward has got over 30,000 voters, I think. And the UPND who claimed to have won that seat only got 670 votes. That is after paving roads in Kimasala. That's after giving social cash transfer. That's after bribing voters so they can vote for them. Clearly, they have been rejected. And for us, we have seen an opportunity as Citizens First to push harder and make our point heard and known.
That to me indicates that there was voter apathy. If you're giving me those numbers in difference,
serious voter apathy was there. Serious voter apathy because the people really politics because of the many lies that were told to them by the current regime. They were promised heaven on earth, and they have failed to produce even a single bit of that. So people are disappointed. But we are telling them ourselves as Citizens First that not everything is lost. Muisaka Mana, don't worry. We here in the CF are here to work with you and ensure that we restore that confidence and hope which has been lost. And understandably, so you can hear our people. Their frustrations are justified because this is a government that promised the people of Northwestern Province that part of the monies that they are getting from their mines will be going into improving the province. That has not happened. The Northwestern Province remains as one of the most dilapidated provinces, undeveloped provinces, despite the scale of wealth that is existing in that province. And if we are Citizens First, natulanda okutira chibinda wabamba nokwakanya kuine akanye pantu ngamlembo mukuba mu Northwestern Province. The Kenya be Northwestern Province watampi okumfobu kumu wakuba mu Northwestern Province akachila kambu shikasengo kekele tetimule pele nchende shimbi. Before you give the people who are producing that copper, you want all the monies to go. We in the CF have said that is coming to an end. We want a certain portion of the resources to remain in Northwestern province because that area has to remain developed. And you know, Zach, that is how the Copper Belt developed as well. That's how Ndola, Kitu, and all these towns surrounding Copper Belt came up. It's as a result of the copper that was being produced there. The same philosophy, the same principle has to apply on Northwestern province.
I'm sure you're trying to hint that probably what is not enough is the amount of corporate social responsibility commitments that these mines have. Because I think they are doing what you asked them to do. Probably you want them scaled up?
Not necessarily the social corporate responsibility. It has to be more. There has to be a government policy of, let's say, 10% of whatever is gotten from Northwestern province remains in Northwestern province. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what happens in China. That's what happens in these other countries. A certain portion of the wealth remains in that province so they can develop their own area. The Solwezi Municipal Council has to be helped not only to collect revenue from the councils and from the markets, but I think they need to be helped to also get appropriate revenue from the mining companies on the Copper Belt. In Northwestern province, so that we can develop that area. Look at the township roads in Solwezi. Just look at Solwezi. Look at the amount of wealth we are getting out from there, and look at what we are giving Northwestern province. Nothing. 78% of this country's exports is coming from the mining sector, and a huge chunk is coming from Northwestern province. And yet Northwestern province has remained undeveloped. No. We are going to change the status quo. We are going to change the way we play things, and we will do it real quick. We'll do it real quick.
I'm worried with the fact that you're pointing out voter apathy in the previous by-elections. I mean, do you foresee a translation into a general election? And what would that do if we are going to experience voter apathy to the general outlook of the election?
I'm not sure we're going to experience voter apathy in 2026. I don't think so. We're experiencing voter apathy because, look, it's a by-election. People look at a councillor. If the MP there has failed to deliver development, people say, what will the councillor do? What will the councillor do if the MP, who is also the chief whip in parliament, has failed to deliver development in that particular area in Solwezi Central? What will the councillor do? So people sit back and say, look, let's just teach them a lesson in 2026. After all, it's just 8 months remaining. And even in these remaining few months, nothing is going to change. But let's register. And many of them have registered en masse, waiting to punish the UPND in 2026. No amount of lies will make the UPND survive. They are resolved in Northwestern province. And I can tell you, I'll be going back there in the next very few weeks to go and thank the people of Kimasala Ward for the support that they have given us. We don't care about the number of votes they gave us. Those same people who gave us the votes require our attention so that they can go and encourage others to vote for us next year.
Indeed. Let's talk about the elephant that is still in the room. The demise of former president. I haven't had a conversation with you since that happened. It's the first time we are hearing from you since that time. What is your view on what has panned out to be now?
My personal view?
Yeah.
My personal view is that I am disappointed that we have failed to bury the former head of state in a matter that is befitting a man that ruled the country for 7 years. Balungu baitekere chino chalo for 7 years. Mubatemwe na mutamubatemenwe. The fact is, bali ba president wa Zambia for 7 years. Olote tu muntu amitekere 7 years. Afu apa 5 June. Ile law, pa 15 July. He is almost 2 months. Alifiye mu fridge mwali musungo mu. Tamule fire mushike, mule fokusa mushika kuno kwene kulusaka. Na lela ndabu dabu shikona na other media platform. I was saying, ba family nga na balanda okutira balungu abashike ku South Africa tuipatikisha ebene ba mubiri lupwa abali ku bedside yabalungu lupwa government alipo ku bedside yabalungu abatwele balungu ku hospital lupwa government ayaliko kubulwele nga tawaliko. Don't be surprised about the death of somebody if you are not there when they were So Balungu's sufferings were all known and borne by the family. This halabaloo about the state saying they have to get involved is strange, extremely strange. So for me, my personal view is that tuchindike ba family efe balefuaya pali ino nshita baleke balungu batushe muchibote ikafike nshita abene ba family nga bakutuluka bapitulukamo bamuno okutilo kweno uyu muntu limbino mbachalinga ino nshita okumutwala ku Zambia okuyalala ubiri wabalungu ila ine nshita nga yafika kwali bano okwimbulula ekitumbi mwashika. I was saying the other day also that what has happened to President Lungu is not new, to be buried outside his own country. And I was giving an example of our great Pan-Africanist, Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966 on his way to Hanoi, going Vietnam. He was in China when the Chinese authorities told him that you have been overthrown by the military and the police in Accra. Kwame Nkrumah stayed in Ghana for 4 days, and his friend then, Hamed Sokotore, the president of Guinea Conakry, invited Kwame Nkrumah to go and stay in Guinea Conakry and observe the situations, the situation in Ghana as it was panning out. That maybe when the situation improves to Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah can go back to Ghana. Unfortunately, in 1971, Kwame Nkrumah fell ill and he was evacuated to Bucharest in Romania. He died in Romania of prostate cancer. And Secretary, again, his friend of Guinea Conakry, went and collected the remains of Kwame Nkrumah and took them to Guinea Conakry, gave him a state funeral with full military honors in Guinea Conakry, and buried him in Guinea Conakry. The authorities, the military junta that had overthrown Kwame Nkrumah, asked for the remains of Kwame Nkrumah to be transported to Ghana. Guinea Conakry president that time, Sekou Touré, refused. He said, you never respected Kwame Nkrumah when he was alive. You never cared about Kwame Nkrumah when he was alive. Why do you want and you want to honor his dead body? The military junta at that time understood and to bury Kwame Nkrumah. Later on, yes, the remains were transported to Accra after the West African Community, ECOWAS, got involved. And the remains were taken to his native village in Western Ghana. The point I'm trying to make is, the military junta still went ahead and gave Kwame Nkrumah the full military honors, even when his remains were being put down, buried in the country. They still gave him the full military honors in absentia. If it the full military honors, you can still give him the full military honors when he's being buried in South Africa. You can give him those military honors. Pantu.
But it's, I mean, give it to him while here in Zambia.
To him in absentia. You honor people posthumously. Tabali ipo, but you're honoring them. Even Valungu Vene, you can give him the 21-gun salute of the armed forces of this country. You can still give him those honors when his remains are still in South Africa. You can do that. The same way the military junta did in Ghana. Because the family, again, at that time, talked with President Sekou Touré and said, we don't want the remains of Kwame to be transported to Accra. We don't want. And Kwame Nkrumah, until when things changed in Accra, that is when Vaile Shulo, mubili wakwa Kwame Nkrumah, kugini Conakry, baufunya kudya, bautwana kugana kubamushika. Kumushikumiabo. After some time, again, I think that was in 1992 when Jerry Rawlings was president of Ghana. Asalando kutila awe teti Kwame Nkrumah mushike Kwame Nkrumah mufuire mushike kuno ku Accra. Pano pene panche ndo pwa iminine to proclaim that Ghana had gotten its independence. I think it's in 1956 or so, or 1957. I don't know very well. But he said, bring him here where he made this proclamation. Again, Vadia Mushukulula Kwame Nkrumah from his village in Western Ghana. Bamuleta na Accra. Up to today, That's the history. So na ifwemene muno mu Zambia tuipatikisha ukuboko bapoto okumine ba Edgar Lungu olupu lwabo nalulanda okuti tabalefu abalungu balale muno,
despite the status that he is former president.
despite
And how does barring the former president in a foreign country affect the diplomatic standing of this country at the global community?
Nothing affects the president, the diplomatic relations. If a former president is buried in another country, there's nothing that happens because the South African government has got laws. South Africa bakwata mafunde obakonka. Loka ku South Africa, Minister wa Foreign Affairs alishire kuno ku Zambia. Minister wa Foreign Affairs wa ku South Africa alishire kuno ku Zambia nokubera ba president besu ukuti yela uyu ntwanikani Edgar Lungu ulupwalo wako nalulanda okuti yela bashike ku South Africa. Ifenga wa South African government that was advise ukuthi yela bakwena ngachaliwa mu muntu watekere chalo for 7 years ayalale ku Zambia. Ulupwana lukana ati pantu tamwale umfwana nankwe elo ali umumi mwamutekere kumunga wefu afwa. So nabakano okutira Lungu mpasho wakota wakatushe mchivote imwe nga mwapalaminako twamfana no kuyaya lulia aya abe okutira South Africa amafunde tayakanya ukushika omuntu kulo olupanga lwanda titubalala kula tapali obwafya twali ku South Africa bonse eko twaile kula tushike balungu twamfati kuli injunction mulando oli ku court na lelo Pretoria kanshi tulelo lela twalanda nefingi tulelo lela tukomva ife a court yalalanda pa 4th August balungu mubili wabo nga okabwela kuno nangu mubili wabo kalala ku South Africa nomba ine kuna fafe kwa ba president HH umunene mwali muchushisholo ali ubumi lekena tusheko muchu pantu nangu mwapatikisha ati ese kuno mkese mulishe shushine mfute tama 21 gun salute chwa kungeta ole fire tabapatikisha ukuangala tabapatikisha lekeni balungu atushe muchivote Kalaba ala isa next year pali bu president na ala isanga president next year tukasendo mubili wabalungu nokuweta muno mwine Mzambia gatwalanda no lupwanga lwasumina pantu kulanda no lupwa kuchi ndiko lupwa ebene balufishe kulanda no lupwa Zambia na ilufia ate macro level Zambia na ilufia nomba ate micro level abalufishe vakashi vana veshikulu vepwa vankashi yakwe Edgar Lungu and so on and so forth ebalufishe pantu ulia ali mulopa wabo tuye ukoti ife tupatikisha ati yo kano fefo nife tushike pantu umuntu wa president chakana.
Let's shift our attention to what is burning now, the Constitution Amendment Bill 7. A week ago, it looked a dead matter, but it's very much actively alive, based on what the Speaker of the National Assembly said, that she does not recognize the ruling of the Constitutional Court. And so Laz has equally decided to take it further. What is your position around this, considering that you've been in Parliament before?
The first thing I'll tell you is that Bill 7 should not even have found itself on the floor of the House. Why do I say so? It should not have found itself on the floor of the House because there are certain procedures in which a bill, especially one which is concerning amendments to a constitution, should follow. You know that from 1964, when we had the first Constitutional Review Commission of Comrade Mainza Chona, they had to go around the country. Then we have had Constitutional Review Commissions in Mwanakatwe, Mungomba. All these had to go all over the country to get the views of the citizens and then input those decisions and bring them to the floor of the House where it is debated. It is a first in the history of constitutional amendments that we have had a bill conjugated at Community House, taken to the Ministry of Justice, and taken to Parliament for approval. It's a first. The rule of the game when we're dealing with a constitution, because it is a people's document, any adulteration on the constitution must be with the consent of the people. the people must agree. In this instance, the people have not agreed. Who are the people? It is the church. The church has said they were not consulted. Who are the people? It is non-government organizations. They have said they were not consulted. Who are the people? It is us in the political circles, representing various political interests. We were not consulted. The larger scale of individuals, the populace of this country, was not consulted on Bill 7. That's why I am shocked myself that our president can still be talking about Bill 7. When today you and I are seated, that is not the most urgent matter. The most urgent matter that people are struggling with, malite, Muzambi, tamuda malite mchalo. Balestisha malite, abalanda tabakweta malite, aba iche nama barber shops tabakweta malite, masaloni tamuda malite, mu aba welding tabakweta malite. This must have been the thing that should have been keeping our leadership awake. Why do they find it easy? Why do they find it easy to continue talking about amendments to the constitution when the basics for their own citizens have not been done? Abantu na mbafenga kuma light. Futu mambo kwa constitution. What is so much in a hurry? Because the leadership wanted to use the youths and the women. Ukutila abantu are represented. But president pala kwata more opportunities of appointing people every other week. He appoints a man too. And he doesn't appoint Abaiche. He was appointing last week. I'm a permanent secretaries. There were no youths there. The president has got a provision of appointing or nominating 8 members of parliament. No youths has he appointed there. He has 116 districts, right? 116 district commissioners. No youths there. There are only about 2 or 3. The rest bakalambane myefu. Then he comes to you and he tells you, ukutiela mwema youths mwemsepe na limite mwasana ndefa tuombele pamo so ibiu nga mwaipisha nishama youths mwaingira parliament ma jokes ayo kwanga loko. Even ba president for once take us seriously as a country. Bill 7 even Concord na imiebo ukutiela tamwako nkele procedure iya kutwala Bill 7 mu parliament. And in fact, the Concord is not even talking about what the Speaker of the National Assembly is talking about. The Concord is talking about the procedure of taking a bill to Parliament. Whether the bill should come back because Parliament is independent is another story. The Concord's argument has been that they did not follow procedure in taking that bill to Parliament. Therefore, that bill must be deferred and it must follow the rightful process, so that it is a people's bill which will be translated into law when the president assents to it. As at now, we should not even be wasting time talking about Bill 7. Wale umfako nensoni abantu bamu. Pantu. Abantu nga na bakana. Chashmile wapatikisha. Why do you want people to change? Nishi fair for kuchinja constitution pali inoishi. Nishi fair isa. Ya kutiela bami bati constitution first loleleni. Kwa shala fie 8 months. 8 months eleko. Before we start filing in of nominations for councillors. Why would you want to start fidgeting around with the constitution? Umuswe mata yobutu kilafi. Nishipadi chimo. Emula anduwi inetu lombabe na Zambia. You have seen for yourselves that our colleagues in UPND don't mean well. They don't mean well. Because if they meant well, they would have been listening to what the people wanted. But they don't want to listen to the people. That is where the problem is. If they meant well, they should have been fulfilling the promises which they gave the Zambian people. Bali la ili abene. Atubunga bukachipa kwa 50 kwacha. Bunga tabwachipa. Bali la ili abene. Kutila dola ikabwela panshi. Dola tayabwela. Bali la ili abene fenda kanu akabu. Kutilo mufundo kuma farmers ukatete. Mafarmers ukatete. Wazambo lima chimanga. Chambiri maningi. Chifuka fertilizer yawe zapaka. Fertilizer na manja ikaribi opaka. Vantu wasta struggle with fertilizer. 61 years after independence. Mulandu wine ifwenga ba CF. Tuela ndiro kutila. Bakaunda bale baseka. Yo bakaunda tabasambirira. But bakaunda bashasambirire. Bali pangile nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. kukafiwoko balepanga omufundo bakaunda nomufundo bakaunda balepanga walefika munchende shonse kuisoka ukatete kulusangazi chadiza yenzofika fertilizer na chimanga abantu benzolima ku Western Province. But today we are importing fertilizer from Ukraine, importing fertilizer from Russia. Na amasaka ekubika mu amataba we are importing from China. Ifenga twaisanga ba citizens first. Na tulanda okutila tedi tulachita import amasaka. 61 years after independence, amasaka fye twalikweta na ba Kifco kukabwe abalepanga amasaka. Ama companies ya palanga Kifco yafuire yabwela. Yakabwela shana mbananda Kalaba landa fye. She landa fye ine. Ine na alimone fye Singapore ya ikala. Na alimone fye Malaysia ya ikala na foreign affairs minister. Na alimona nokumono okutila. Ngana mukwata obutungulu shubu afumaluka. Not businessman. Ngana mukwata umubomfi wafumaluka. Firamu akwete bakaunda. Firamu akwete ba Sata. Ba Chiluba, ba Mwanawasa, ba Rupia Banda, ba Edgar Lungu. Shirya ntungulushi shali temenwe chalo. Shirya ntungulushi tashayibi mbide mfya business amakwebu. Pantu umulimo wandinga president tewama tenders yo. Umulimo wandinga president kumuno kutila imitimu fpatelo mushiri. Umulimo wandinga president kumuno kutila ama yango drivers abene bale chusha aba kutila bali landipine mishitu. Bali lando kutila tulechula kwa yango drivers tababo mfwa. Mulimo wandi kumfwa no kumona n'insurance afu ila mu ba taxi driver na mayango drivers pantu wale chula. Umulimo wandi ngakateka wa chalo, it is to ensure that the farmers are protected. It is to ensure that debt swap ya isamuli chino chalo pantu. We can't have civil servants, Zach, when they get paid their BP shoots. When they get paid, that's what I like kupata mkupimisha in the BP ya kwela. Nishbafola, nishmashwa, there is a problem. That is why we need to start afresh. We need to help the civil servants do a debt swap so that they can have their pay slips cleaned and we start a new chapter. This is an idea which was mooted by us and we'll come and implement it next year when we form government.
How do you explain the fact that I'm glad you've mentioned on the dollar, obviously a kwacha gaining against the dollar. You've talked about the minimum price. Yes, it may not have reduced significantly to how the ruling party now, then in opposition, were promising in terms of the pricing, but we have seen some drastic drop in the price of fuel, minimum itself, and of course the kwacha is gaining as well against convertible foreign currencies. I mean, we've seen this in the past month or so now. How do you explain that? I mean, isn't that responding to this government's economic policies?
No, sir. When you say that the kwacha is appreciating against other convertible currencies, ngamwasangire kwacha yali pali 117 kwacha to $1. Elo mwaitwala kuli 28 kwacha to $1. Elo mwaiwesha pali 23 kwacha or 24 kwacha to $1. Nishimashita for few promise mwala ndilo kuti like abwela kuli 6 kwacha to $1. Muno wala yomusunga. Wende wako nkomana. Figa balumbwile ba president ni 6 kwacha o 3 Figa balumbwile ba president kubunga. Te 180, te 205, te 170, balumbwile 50 kwacha. Eyo tule fuaya. Ningo sawamona. No kwimbo se. Bale papa kalama. Pamulandu wakutila. Ichinu wampofuta chawama. Limokulande finto fita wishibe bwino. Ule filanda fye. Pakuti ulo sende ama votes. Tachawa machidia. Tulefu aba president besu ba HH. Mafikiri shobula yo bala ili okutila. Ama ministers yabo. Te akalenda mma GX. Tuba tuwebele. Ile ilungu matumuna ama ministers yabo. Walenda mma GX. Na waya vola mune mibiri shidi shabo. Tulefu aba minister. Bende mma mwetu kwa president ba tuwebele po. Tulefu aba president ba tuwebe. Elo bala ndilo okutila benanga ba isa. Imisepe la shesu. Muna Zambia. Shikengire shanchito ma ministries na ma companies tasha ingila batu webile okutia load shedding benanga baisa ikapua load shedding nomba elo efikiena pali Antoine kane pa stage where we have never experienced it before in our country. 16 hours of load shedding and we have continued to export power to Namibia. The Namibians came in this country, you remember, Zach? They came at the office of the vice president there to thank our vice president Beso. No kwata konenso wa vice president navo. Kwanda fe kutila yomu isaka mantakula mipela. Vanamibia balandilo kutila avula imwe ba Zambia. Katuika lomu afita. Nomba ba Zambia mwali babuye nonga baneba. Ba vice president yemu kwa ito atote atakula miafwa. Nomba mle afwa ba Namibia. Mle afwa ba South Africa 100 megawatts through the SADC power pool agreement. Mle afwa ba DRC Congo 120 megawatts. Na contract yali ipo ya kupela ba Congo Amalight. Government went ahead and renewed. Wakonkanya poko la pela ba DRC Congo Amalight. Nishwane fokusha problem. It's almost 2 years. Zambia has been in darkness. Na batuchila na ba Malawi. We laugh at Malawi. No ba Malawi tu alibachila. Tuweke no kulanda cha Malawi tu alibachila. Ba Malawi ba ituchila because ba Malawi ba kwa Tamalight. Kuma Malawi Amalight ayi fele ya kuno Zambia. Ba Mozambique to wa bachila ba ituchila ba Mozambique ba kwa Tamalight. Ba Botswana ba ituchila ba kwa Tamalight. Ba Tanzania ba kwa Tamalight. Ifa to kwa Tamalight. Eo na di foreign affairs minister Zach. Na alire ku Russia pamwe na bayashi ba Msiska. Otwaile kuda ku Russia. Twalefa yokutira tusende idia plant ya bakuchongwe nuclear plant. We wanted that plant to begin producing 20,000 megawatts of power every day. 20,000 megawatts of power. And we signed the agreements. Part of the agreement was we are going to get these young guys in universities who were good at sciences to go and read nuclear science in Moscow. Then they would come back and manage our plant as they were building it here. The program started rolling because in my mind then as foreign minister, I was very clear that the only agenda Zambia is going to get out of these challenges is through industrialization. Zambia kuti afye pantanshi ama industries inga yabwela pantu muri chino echalo twalikwata soya beans. In this country twakwata soya beans but ama soya chunks afuma ku Tanzania eba tupangila. In this country twalikwata copper but in polo shesu shifuma ku China. In this country twalikwata sunflower but salad yeso tulenwa ile fuma ku Zimbabwe. 61 years after independence tulalima cotton mu Zambia muno. Tulalima cotton but amala ngeti yesu yale fuma ku DRC Congo. Ifitenge fyesu file fuma ku DRC Congo. Muli chino echana tobacco tulalima. In Eastern Province, I was moving in Eastern Province a month ago or so, going into Lundazi. It's all tobacco area. All tobacco is gone, side by side with me, you know. But our tobacco is processed in Malawi, not in Zambia. How can you create jobs like that? Unless the mindset changes, unless we agree that our mindset must be transformed and we begin value addition on what we are doing, Zambia will not make progress. And therefore, I have a problem even with appreciation of the kwacha, because for me, in simple economics, the kwacha will not gain value if your export ratio or your export portfolio is not enhanced. What are we exporting for the kwacha to appreciate? Either the appreciation is cosmetic, meaning it's artificial, it will not last. That is why already we are seeing that the kwacha is already facing challenges. Yeah, the way the kwacha, remember. Number it's going back 23, 24, 25. It is because we have not had something substantive we are exporting to keep the kwacha stronger. The other point is we have allowed mining firms who are getting a lot of dollars from our mineral proceeds to be exporting or to be externalizing the dollars. They sell our copper in Geneva. The money remains in Geneva. It is not coming back in Zambia to help stabilize your kwacha. It is not. So the kwacha remains weak. To make decisions of that nature, sir, you need a leader that is firm. You need a leader that is strong, like the one we're talking to. Because those jokes of selling our products in this country, it will not happen. We need monies. That want to control their monies, no. Get me right? But when you sell our copper, at least give us Zanako, give us Indo-Zambia Bank, some business by letting your kwachas or letting your dollars stay in their bank accounts, even for 5 days, that is a lot of money in the economy. It changes a lot of things because they will have interest that they will have gained just for having their money sitting in those accounts. But that is not happening. That is where we have a problem. The other issue which we will exploit when we come into government as citizens first is the issue of these same mines are in our minds. We are losing a lot of money in our mines. A lot of revenue is lost. We only talk about copper. Copper today, if my memory serves me right, is selling at about $9,637 per metric ton. I think so. $9,637 per metric ton. Cobalt is selling, I think it's going at about $33,335 per metric ton. You hear those figures? Cobalt is $33,000. Copper is $9,000. To understand the copper. And yet nobody talks about cobalt. And yet upper the copper, nishna cobalt opoidi. Those things move side by side. We are not talking about cobalt. To understand the copper. Where is our cobalt? Where is our cobalt? Tuanamu Congole ndalama kuliba World Bank. When we have got a lot of resources in that form, nobody talks about emeralds, which we are digging from the copper belt. Nobody talks about those emeralds. It's because to quite a leadership you are involved in my businesses. If you ndemi yelo kutiyela, ukupeshe lungu kwenda mo. Ngashimeni kwa maka yabu president next year. Elo muka money. Whether people will not be declaring cobalt. Elo muka money. Whether emerald will not be seen for what it is. Elo muka money. Ukutiyela, mining in this country, small scale mining will be restricted only to Zambians. We will not allow foreigners to be involved in small scale mining. The problem we have in Mufumbo is because there are a lot of foreigners there in Mufumbo who have gone to mine gold, and our government, instead of giving our people some time, 3 months, wind up your activities before we bring in a structured way of mining, and together with Kabombere Pamo, they remove the people immediately who are trying to earn a living. The locals of Mufumbo ngatabai sangire their gold kurabe kala pantu aba sangire their gold teba government bantu abe ne abe kala kulia eba sangira ati kuno kunchende kuli gold elo ba government ba ishiba. So pamulandu wa icho kuwa pela kofi omuchinji state discovered gold kunoko idi was very paramount, but we go there, harass the people, and you blockade the whole area, 102 kilometers of that same gold-rich area, Moaisala. And on the other hand, you are going to parliament to ask for a budget, 33 billion kwacha, 34 billion kwacha, but a supplementary budget. Please give me a break. There's a problem in the leadership cycle in this country. We have to break that monotony, and we'll break it next year.
I don't know how you intend to do it, considering that, look, five years, it's testament that 5 years in leadership is very to time to turn things around. I mean, this government, you probably need to understand the fact that they took over government at the time it was highly indebted. You have to think about the fact that you've debt that is suffocating you, yet you need to as well resuscitate a dying economy at the same time. How then do you how then do you maneuver those two?
Look, first of all, that's why I'm talking about the minerals that we have found. We have sugilite in this country. What government did was to ban sugilite when the head was hot on the market. We have gold in Kasenseli in Munilonga. We have gold now in Mufumbwe. We have gold in Kanyelele in Mpika. Those are monies that government should have been realizing. Do you know how much it is a kg? It's going at about $60,000 per kg. $60,000 per kg. If government was serious about even dealing with monies, we would have used our only local resources to even pay back the debt. But we are failing to do that. because there are so many business interests. Too many business interests are at play. Citizens, they want to survive. So when people who should control the system are the ones who are also constipating the process, the problem comes in there. That is why we are saying it's not a question of time. It's a question of leadership. And I'll give you an example to justify that. Mr. Sata, may he so rest in peace. I happen to be his member of parliament for Bahati. I happen to be his deputy minister. I also happen to be his minister. And I went and got his body from London here, up to here, Zambia. Vasata, strictly speaking, only ruled this country for 2 years. But to the third year, Vasata, he was in and out of hospital, if you remember. He was in Israel, Baku India, Baku London, Fuila. But only 2 years, Vasata Bali me. In 2 years, Vasata Bali Pangile, Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. In 2 years, the president Satabali did a program. Yeah, Link Zambia 8,000. Imisebo, Bambiro Kupange Imisebo, all over the country in 2 years. In 2 years, Badi tele pave Zambia 2,000. Iyo batampiro kupanga ma township roads. Maka wata monsemodia, machilenjo mshali Imisebo, basataba itwele mo Imisebo modia. In 2 years, Mainasoko Hospital was refurbished. In 2 years, Simon Masaka Poepo Airport was done in Ndola. In 2 years, Hari Mwangankumbula Airport in Livingstone was done. Just in 2 years, Zambia was a construction site. Abanesu, abamuletera kwenyu. Muri 4 years. Muri 4 years. Balanda fepali twalingisha maneses 30,000. Twalingisha ma teachers naponga 28,000. Twalingisha twaleta CDF yali pali 1 point no kwishiba naishi bati aba umwachali limine bamulo wabeni aba na abalo wabeni tafya bombeke muri 4 years baleka sabana fye tapano po benga sonta tina babomba ba president bali de kula mkwisula kaka to twali mkwisula kula ku ko ba twake bukisha wali mkwisula to matole so wali mkwisula
Mkwacha constituency.
Mkwacha constituency na plaster takuli fena mkwisula efyo fere milango kutila aba no tabakwete plan. Hello, I want to plead with my colleagues who believed so much muri ba HH. Sumine ni fie. Atumuka lamba wande na filwa. Just agree. Pantu, if you think fair what you wupe, you can say whatever you want to say about Harry Kalaba. No, Kalaba overrates himself. Kalaba what himself? How can I not overrate myself? Ngana number 3 of my elections I'm 2021. First attempt, less than 2 years party yesu. Nafumana number 3 out of 16 contenders. Nishinaish but Zambia kanshana senda seriously. Nefendela ndapa Zambia ile senda seriously. Olonga ni 2026 yena. Ama Zambia nzamenzo yonse. Yadi panopene. Basumine nanguta basumine efyo chizi. So balando kutila tekwesho ukula wayopo mwene party progress. Let's just hold hands and push this agenda to progress.
ZAMSA is in the news, and I think that the audit report has sort of taken long, and I know that the audit report was carried out by PwC, obviously hired by
the same government.
Yes, and the report again, it's controversial that when it was released, it should have the normal procedure is that it is released simultaneously to the president and parliament. But Parliament claims has never seen the report. First of all, what could have led to that?
What could have led to that is very simple. It's because the irregularities which the Auditor General's office has brought to the fore, this government wants to sit on them. They don't want the public to know how public money is misapplied. And that's why I tell you that the fight against corruption in this country is academic. It's cosmetic. Because in a serious government, heads would have rolled now. Heads would have rolled now as things are happening. But we read in yesterday's News Diggers that some items were being exaggerated to about 6,000. an item, a price being exaggerated 6,000 times plus. Honestly, how can you develop a country like that when you want to eat from that country? A country like Zambia, which you say is struggling. And then you are also going for supplementary funding. And the Auditor General's report has given you glaring irregularities in the procedures of finance. And instead of you taking action, you have remained mute. And they ask you at give me a break.
What would you allude to the supplementary budget requested by the Minister of Finance? Would you again? I'm trying to take you back to what you just said, that there is overemployment in the medical, in the health sector, in the teaching sector as well, education sector, if you like. Would you say that these are the result of employment, and then government can't manage to pay, hence requesting for supplementary budget?
No, supplementary budget is just a lack of physical financial discipline. It's also telling you that our colleagues don't know where they are coming or going, because 34 billion is huge monies for someone to not have budgeted for. So it means that the budget which they approved in December last year has only lasted for 5 months, and now they are requesting for more monies to finish the year. That is the responsibility of the highest order. That tells you there's a problem in the way we are managing the affairs of this country. The 34 billion supplementary funding, where has the money gone? The Auditor General's report has answered part of that question for you. They have told you that financial seepages in this government are very high. Fighting corruption in this government is cosmetic. Corruption. But I'm happy that even the international community, the cooperating partners, have seen that this government doesn't fight corruption. It only fights political opponents. They don't fight corruption because, as you know, the office of the Anti-Corruption Commission is under the office of the president. Why did the president move a quasi-government institution like the Anti-Corruption Commission? Why did he move it to his office? Why? Because that's an oversight institution. He should have left it to be independent or semi-autonomous so that it can equally deal with the loopholes, with challenges of his ministers and so on and so forth. But the president has told the Anti-Corruption Commission, don't announce that you're investigating anybody. I'm not putting words in his mouth. It's him who said it. Don't announce that you are investigating anybody until you have concluded. How then will you evaluate how well the ACC is working if they can't tell you they're investigating this one, they're investigating that one, they're investigating, and the progress that they're making? How will you assess progress? That's the problem. So indirectly, the fight against corruption has been killed by this government. They don't care about the fight against corruption. All they care for is to remain in power and fight perceived political opponents. When we come into government, we are changing the scenario. We are changing the narrative. We want people to be free. We want the ACC to be independent. We want the ACC to be like the way it was under Dr. Kaunda, Dr. Chiluba, Dr. Levi Mwanawasa, Mr. Michael Chichwasata, where the ACC can arrest a minister and the president just hears it over news. Oh, now I got to idea. Well, that's how it is. We want it to be independent so that it should not only be those who are not known who are pursued by the Anti-Corruption Commission. The big and the small must all face the law because the law is blind.
Is it by coincidence that, first of all, the American ambassador announced about the fact that, you know, the American government is withdrawing part of their aid, and months later, the American ambassador gets to have a meeting with the president, and days later, ZAMSA audit report is in public domain? Is this some sort of coincidence?
Actually, it's a very nice coincidence. When you look at the development of issues, first of all, I'll tell you that from the statements that the American ambassador has been making, and I want to speak as a former Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is very well acquainted with the Vienna Convention. That statement he was making, he was basically telling you we have lost confidence in this government. That is why Zambia was even put on the list of countries to be banned. In fact, we've been given 60 days to be given that visa waiver. To be banned from getting visas to go to America. 60 days. If the government doesn't explain properly, Zambians will not be getting visas from here. To be difficult. So the president knows that his relationship, or the UPND government knows that their relationship with the American government is bad. And so to save face, the Americans only went at State House. There were only 4. You saw them? There were only 4. The Zambian government, PS Chakuti, PS Wakutila, Mwimbo was in there, my brother Mulambo Ahimbe was there, Chipoka Munenga was there. It was a full power delegation from the Zambian side. And as a former Minister of Foreign Affairs, I already saw, just seeing the configuration of that meeting, I knew there was a problem. There was a problem. Because they were not taking the relationship with America, which relationship Zambia has had. From 1964, when we got our independence, America was one of the countries we developed bilateral relations with. But this government has not been taking that relationship very seriously. So now when they saw, stop telling us about Ukulosha anymore. Because you said we have to return to normalcy as a country. Even when we advised you, you can't return to normalcy when the body of your colleague is still in the fridge in South Africa. It's not possible. So, but the Americans have seen through him, through this government, that they don't mean well, and that the relations Zambia has with America are no longer the same. Why? Because this government talks big on corruption and acts nothing about it. We know that.
Before I open the phone lines, let's talk about your alleged assassination not long ago. I think it was in Solwezi?
Solwezi, yes.
Yes. When you went to drum up support. Just share with us what happened.
Well, I arrived in Solwezi in the morning. And one of the programs we had was to visit Father Zulu at St. Stephen's Parish in Kimasala Ward. That was about 11 hours. We went, we found Father Zulu with some other priests at the parish. We had a very fruitful meeting. And as we were in the meeting, we heard UPND vehicles going around the parish, circling the parish. So Father tells me, oh, your colleagues now know that you are here. You can hear the music playing out there. We said, it's fine. Then we toured the facility, St. Stephen's. And after we finished touring the facility, we are now going to our next station, which was Kimasala Market. So as we were leaving the parish now, trying to get in our vehicles, Zach, a vehicle comes straight where I was walking, straight. So me...
You were not in the vehicle?
No, I was walking. Then this guy is in the vehicle, comes straight wanting to hit me. I was lucky that my security detail was very fast in acting. They quickly pushed me, went and fell there on the ground. And the one who was behind me, the Copperbelt provincial chairman, Maynard, was hit. Another woman was hit. Another child was hit. Another woman was hit. It was just chaotic. And I didn't understand what was happening. I picked myself from the ground and I saw that this woman's limbs were broken. The child's arm was broken. Provincial chairman was bleeding there. It was blood all over the show. And they wanted to whisk me away from the area because they thought it was not safe, my security guys. And I told them, no, they are beating the driver there. Let us not take the law in our own hands. Let that driver be taken to the police so that he can go and account for his actions. Please take him to the police. But in the meantime, let's get these people who are injured. Let them all go and get medical reports. Let them be treated by the hospital while we go to the police to give the account of what has transpired. But I was shocked that the police underplayed the whole event by saying, no, people were coming from a church service at St. Stephen's. There was no church service at St. Stephen's. I'm on radio here. There was no church service at St. Stephen's. The only function which was there was the Citizens First paying courtesy call on the parish priest for St. Stephen's in Kimasala Ward. That was all that was there. And there was no church goer there who can say, no, a church goer. Our police, I know, are working under very difficult circumstances. And I know your challenges. This is why You too, Wakapokola, you are part of the debt swap which is coming. Want to clean our pay slips, and we clean those pay slips so that you can also live a liberated life. And make sure that we give you incentives. Like I was saying the other day, a police officer working in rural areas, like any civil servant working in rural areas, if you save for 10 years and you have saved unbroken service for 10 years in the civil service, you'll be entitled to a duty-free vehicle to come into Zambia without you paying duty, so that it can contribute and enhance to your well-being. We have also said police officers, just like any other civil servants, teachers who will be working in rural areas, they will get 100% of their basic pay as rural hardship allowance. We want the rural people to begin feeling or to begin having quality teachers, quality service from government by the incentives that the government will provide. But the report which came on Kimasala incidents was disappointing, because the spokesperson said it was a normal RTA. This person did not observe the rules. This guy was waiting for us by the corner there at the parish, and when he saw Kalaba was coming, he was coming for me. Hence what people were saying, assassination attempt, wanted to kill me. And I've heard overrates himself, Kalaba, who is Kalaba, who is, I mean, at least acknowledge one thing. Kalaba is a former minister in this country. Kalaba is a leader of a political party in this country. And whether you don't like him, you will not trivialize what happened around him. Very regrettable in our politics. We should practice politics of decency. We don't like violence ourselves. That is why even when that mob was beating that guy, I had to go and stop them. That is not our politics. This country requires healing. We need peace. We need unity in Zambia. And I have pledged to my elder brother, President Ichilema, when he loses power next year and we come in as citizens first, we will not allow any ministers. We will not allow anybody to mistreat the head of state, the former head of state. We want him to do activities across the globe. Takwa vechalo, takwa bomushi, uwabula bakalamba. Eko nafuma tulanda tumwa echa shipsha bakalamba. Abutuka akasubokuwa. So tulefwaya bakainde, because pali nonshita tatukwete former president. Tulefwa bakainde babe former president next year. Ngaba former president next year. Bakalanchitako guide, bakalanga fuako, because now got experience in the last 5 years. His experience will have to be put to good use.
This is the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy World of 5 FM radio. We are also live on many other platforms, Tuta FM in Mansa. And of course, we are live on ZFM in Kapiri. We are live in Kabwe and Central Province on Spice FM, Platinum Radio in Indola. And we are also live in Katete, of course, covering the entire Eastern Province. Now, our guest this morning is Mr. Harry Kalaba. He is president of Citizens First Party. Now, Mr. Kalaba, I've got a text that's coming from Mansa. It says, "Morning, Mr. Kalaba. Legacy is very important in consideration in convincing electorates. You were MP for Bahati constituency. What legacy would you say the people of Bahati in Mansa will look to in deciding to give you their vote or not?"
Kumansa.
Yes.
Afumile kumansa.
Yes.
Ebale epshejo chipusho.
Mkwai.
Na Bahati bali shofe bwino. Pantu umafuma pasena mapa market. Mweya ukabunda kuminshoni. Kwali batamaki. Tamaki abaletele ni banani. Ngamafuma msena mamulea kwa chimese. Kwali besikolo betati Kalanga Day High School. Aba kulie Kalanga Day High School ni bani. Ngamwaya Bahati constituency. Shishwe pali nomba. Ilenshita Yesu. Ya kwete 59 polling stations. 59 polling stations. Out of 59 polling stations, tapali polling station munga ya po. Bahati. Opo bala, opo tamwa mfeshi na kwa Kalaba bali lumbule. Pantu, in every polling station there's a project that I left. That is my legacy. Either there is a teacher's house, or there's electricity put, or there is Ifika valitwala nangu twali kule skulu nangu twali kule chipatela in all the 59 polling stations.
Let's take some more calls in this case. I'll ask you to have your headsets on. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. How are you, my brother?
Not too bad, thank you. And how are you today?
Very, very fine. Thank you so much.
Is this Brother Chisha?
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, Brother Chisha. Please go ahead.
President Kalaba, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you, Bachisha?
I'm very fine, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I like the way you have explained the barrier of our former president. I'm from Luapula myself. We say that's what we say where I come from. And it's not good to love someone when he's normal. We need to practice love when we are still alive. We don't love the dead people. We always practice love towards someone who is in need. In Tonga, we say, "Muntu pengera muntu nyina." Simply means if I suffer, I'm supposed to suffer for my fellow human beings. I can't suffer for a tree because the tree can't help me. You have explained the issue very, very well, Mr. President. It's time when you featured on the same program, Mr. President. I told you to say, you are a good leader, Mr. Kalaba. And if anyone will come and tell you to say you are a bad leader, such a one is not a true person. To be honest with you, Mr. President, you are a true leader and you are a good leader. But for you to go solo in 2026 elections, Mr. Kalaba, you are not going to win the election. And you said someone challenged you to say in by-elections, your performance was not very good. And your answer was, it's not about winning, but to make noise. Yes, it's important to be known by the voters. But some of us who are looking for change come 2026, we need to usher in a new leadership. We are looking forward to such a person like you. Sir, where is the problem? Why can't you consider to work with your people? Let me just pick one by-election in Mufrera. You were beaten even by leadership movement. You came forth, I don't know if it's by 8 votes. For me, that's an indication to show that the party is not performing very, very well. Am I saying you're not a good leader? No, you are a good leader. Are you known by the grassroots? It's difficult for you to be known for now, especially if you go solo. But if you decide to work with a team, for example, I'm just giving an example. You join Tonsa, then you are adopted as the president. Tonsa leaders campaigns for you. Don't you think it's going to be easier for you to win the election, Mr. Kalaba, than to go solo? President Kalaba, Balanda, united we stand, divided we fall. Consider my thoughts, and it is going to be better. I'm not forcing you. Moreover, we are in a democratic dispensation. It is your right to belong to a political party of your choice. But for the sake of progress, why can't you consider to work with your colleagues? Thank you so much, Zach and Mr. President. We are listening.
Pleasure is ours. Thank you for calling, Brother Chisha. Let me give you one more, and then you can respond to to Brother Chisha. I think he's brought out quite a lot. 0955 221515. That's the number you're calling us on if you'd like to come through. Once again, 0955 221515. Good morning.
Mauka bazake.
Nauka bwanje.
Tauka bwino vamakanjera pa garden chirolo hapa.
President
Kalaba. Mauka bwa.
Nauka makanjera mauka bwanji imwe pa chilulu hapa.
So tabe mavuta amena atipita muri UPND government. President Kalaba, uyo mutima amene muri nao pipirizani na. Chintu chikulu mwane bakambira brother Chisha. Gwirizanani President Kalaba. Na banzanu mutitwasa mavuto amene tipitamo please. Onani mukaona load shedding kulipa load shedding ane tinavutikapo yaso kuti 2 years sisira wababa shop wa salon aza survive kwanje weyoda muma industries vana vatu vayimirika manshito kama right batenga chabe namba ingono namba ikulu baibweza makomboni mayona so chikulu ife mutima wana metona muna mutima wa bwino ogwirizana na banzanu mutilubule ma problems anatipitamo ma pressure batapapa bakuti unga wa chipa unga wa boma wao wa ZNS karipa 230 yesterday tinatuma mufana 230 ndiye kuchipa Bakalaba shua ndo metenzo kula 110 kwacha 105 90 kwacha lola miu 85 lola miu 115 break pani lelo bintu liko dola Bakalaba mukamba bwino mwane makambira na pamalira ba former head of state balungu taikonka mukamba bwino maningi ni bimachitika bikuti bakuleka kutosa peze kako olo ni muminzi Bakalaba munapitamo bakamba tiwe chito sakapezeke pamaliranga suza peze kapo noti vameta mboona palasi manje bambo kuti tizakudiringani mwe ba family ameta ona ba maximum mpepa ni chabwino bantu balira shuwa futi mwambo bayofya futi awe Bakalaba tapapa tagwirizana na banzanu mwitose ma pressure ya kulibe sinapitemo mvaso ma government yonse ya sinapitemo ma pressure ya so ndio kamba kwa kwanga investera wa president Kalaba
zikomo kwambira Amaka Angela. Let me give you an opportunity to respond to those two.
Thank you very much. Vachisha inepano pa program shishirendelanda tukasolonga ba citizens first. Ifwe tulandiro kutilanga ba CF tulipali abo abalefo okuyiminina. Elo ba CF pali ya convention. Ba CF pali ya Salahari Kalaba convention. Ifemle anefa kutila yo katana naba neno fikesa balanda ati sungo mukoshi bulunguta bwashupa sungo mukoshi ushana ma plans yonse bachishaka nunga master kuredio ko mulenda fyonse ma plan yenu na ngufi ifi akukati mulafitwala pa sitting room imwe fimwe fintu te filande pano tetimye atmanali kumana lubenda twalelanda tetimye atmanali kumana bantu ngati walelanda fimwe fintu te fyonse ungalanda pa radio iyo ubutungulushi kusunge fintu fyo mwena tapate timfilande apanga filanda wera bushiko no abantu namu ipusha lekeni miebe ukutila mulelanda ati mujoine batonse iyo batonse bali febona bena na apanga tonse ni PF tefyo tonse basically ni ba PF ine shakwata problem na ba PF tulalanda no kulanda na ba PF elofe tulanda nga ba CF fyakutila utula kuma elections bachisha ifwe bene fwe bali ntungulushi bafilongani no tufuile tuambo kulanshanye oku making sure ukutila idanstanga ya Afrika tukekale panshi no kumona pali ba ifwe bali 4 fwe bali 5 uinga wina my elections uinga funyapo ubuchushu butpamubiri wesu oba UPND baletele ni nani ngato asuke cyo chuipusho tukepusha na imwe bene bachisha nabashala mukatwebe kutila kwena apo ngatuwina ma elections limbi ni mundu bile nangu limbi ni Kalaba nangu limbi ni Fred Membe nangu limbi ni Bwali Afube nangu limbi ni Given Lubinda and so on and so forth ni mwebo mukatweba ngamwatweba bachisha efyo tukachita inota nste ya kujoin ama alliances yo pantu ine pano mulembo na bachisha ninkwata ma political parties 5 political parties abalanda okutila ifwe otule supporter mu 2026 ni ari Kalaba 5 so te solo iyo nshiri solo iyo.
Are you able to name the 5?
No, I think bachishabe nako shona beshabe na 5 yabo. So for now Zach ndondo kutila tatuli solo iyo na fwe na tuishiba kutila election ile sam 2026 into yakakata no bansha ise pano amapangi yose nembe kumye tiyo efe tule tontonka nyamu January tufetu wakumana nabanesu tumone nishimwa ishibati tushefe tule for ukuchita imo ishibe nifie ukutiyela ifenga ba CF we are going all over the country to mobilize mwalando ukutila kumufurila bali michenda bantu anikane kumufeta kwa ipo by election kumufurila kwa by election ukalulusha I think mulelanda ona candidate waba CF eko wali no mani candidate bachisho wa iminine batale shita campaign washita file in olo nokuya wa yeye tapade wale shita campaign kuda ukalulushi ba CF so the timulanda timwalimi ne kuda makwata ama votes awe mwefintu kuipsha bayama otwa milondolwela ba make Angela na wanda fimofinati kulizani na banzano amaka anja mavuta bene maningi chazi ya maningi malaiti kulibe unga ni odula so chabe vakuda manyumba sivipaka and then mfakire ma businesses ya baba shop ama butcheries bantuze kuuza ma fresh fish manje kulibe ni mavuto ya kulu yonse amentikamba hapo hayo. That is why abanzatu bafunika bakaende elo ngati ise mu opposition ngatakangiwa kugwirizana will be forced kugwirizana in some process. How will we be forced? To become president of Zambia, you need 50+1. +1.
What makes you say that?
If he's lucky, you come out number 2.
What makes you say that?
He doesn't have the capacity to get 50+1 because Zambians are tired of his lies. Nobody's going to vote for Msaichilema. And nobody upendi baka basala balabe nama balumbani madoda bakaya basala. But the truth of the matter is ila 2.6 bakwete 2.8 bakwete. Abantu na bamuna mafia. All you need to do is to be a parent or is to have children for you to understand the challenges people are going through. So he will not get this 50+1. Wakaende ngabafuma number 2. Now ngabafuma number 1. So by opposition never leka no kuikatana. When we go for a to defeat by UPND. So eventually
the more you go as individuals into election, the more you split the vote and be able to make the incumbent fail to get 50%+1.
We all in the opposition, and I'm speaking here on radio, starting with me, we all know what is at stake. And I'm not naive to the fact that Zambia is big. I am not naive to the fact that I ran in the elections in 2021. And if there is a person who understands what it means to run a presidential campaign, it is me here, because I've been on that ballot. I know what it takes to compete for a presidential election. And it is just in the interest of the country and in the interest of all of us as a nation, for we in the opposition to be talking to one another. The fact that I've come here as a CF does not mean I am not talking to my brother Balubinda in the PF, or I'm not talking to my other colleagues in other opposition political parties. Remember, I've told you there are 5 parties that we are together with who have said Kalaba will be our candidate.
I would like to know those parties. I only know one. I only know one.
Which one do you know?
I only know one.
Which one do you know?
And I think that's Democratic what? I've just forgotten the name. But I've interviewed the president here of that party. It's actually a woman. But I need to know these other 4 parties.
Why should you even use the word I need to know those other parties? Join us first. When you join us first, then you will know them. Because what we want is to continue consolidating those numbers.
But I'm not partisan, and I can't so join just
to partisan. Why do you want to know them?
But I would like to know, because
why would you want to know them when you are not partisan?
Because I need the information.
Why would you want to eat fish when you don't want to go fishing?
I need the information.
Why would you
unless you tell me that the conditions are that
hunting?
Unless you tell me that the agreement or conditions in your agreements are that you cannot disclose.
No, we cannot. No, Zach, to answer your question and to put your anxiety at a relaxed position, is that we are yet to formally announce. So it will be premature of me to begin announcing when we have not formally announced. So give us time to formally announce, then you will know them. But for now, just to know that 5 political parties have said we are going with Harry Kalaba. Now, if these 5 have already said that, it means I'm not solo. It means it's not solo.
Well, if you are yet to announce, fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes, Kalaba is already holding hands with other political parties to make progress in what we are doing. So we all understand that going it alone can be catastrophic. And we are more alert.
But obviously, the concerns of both previous callers, Brother and Maka Angela, are that I think it's not about having 5 political parties go with you when these political parties don't bring numbers to the elections. And I think their concerns are, if you probably went into an alliance with Tonte, for example, because you know there's Patriotic Front that has numbers, you know that there's a Socialist Party that has numbers, and they are looking at political parties that you associate with, but bring good numbers for your election.
Is Socialist part of Tonze? Are they?
Yes, they are. They did announce that they are working together with
Zach,
Tonse.
we are on radio and I respect your space. But listen, Zach, the Citizens First will not just go into alliances that you are proposing for the sake of going into them. We were in an alliance called UKA. We had our experience in that alliance. And, you know, we have to be very careful because here where we are, it is not just a question of just coming together, you change leadership, and then the status quo continues. We are seeking for more than just a change of leadership in that community house, or is it state house? It is not just a question of just removing my HH and then you put anybody there. We want a person who is going to deal with the plight of the ordinary people. We want a person who will stand up and protect the interests of our country, Zambia. A person who will put country first before self. That is what we want. So that's why we are saying all of us aspiring. It's not a question of saying, no, just join so that you can. No, sir. We have to do this thing methodically and qualitatively.
Let me take some more calls. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Mwauka
Banja. Tibandani mutumira kuti. That's a piece of 1 minute, please.
Vari Kalaba mwauka wa president wa.
Tauka mwauka bwanje base piso?
Boss. Boss kwanga tinkambana maningi. Betani nakuchaini tempa che vari Kalaba bachimuganizira mavuto vetipitamo isi mazambiani. Kamisi particular che Africa na Zambia. Please. Saganizira faka matumbo kupanga zina imasa zina ndrama kama che ndrama zima sara bati umoyo wezo kakutunzendera ndrama ona mwe arapangira tikapanga aliyensi kudiko keke iliyensi mwata uresenda kuti mwata bin mukagwirizana che mu Africa tagwirizana makamaka Mzambia muno tiasiri za mavuto mugwirizana mtu kuendesa atazona zilete nikapange zina iza people please
And unfortunately, Sepiso, your line is very bad. We are unable to get you clearly. Let me please call us back and be in a better position. Otherwise,
to call us back.
Yeah, I hope so. But the line literally was you were hardly hearing what he was saying.
Hardly.
Yeah. So we'll take some more on 0955-221515. That's the number you can call us on if you'd like to take part in our conversation today. Our guest is Mr. Hari Kalaba, president of the Citizens First Party. And remember that we are also live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. Please follow our conversation, and if you can, leave us a comment or indeed a question. Oliver Hamakwamu on Facebook says, Ukulanda Chalyangu Kayama, you were once in government. And I think that, well, and I think that what he's trying to say is most of the things that you are talking about, you probably had an opportunity to do them while in government, or propose or suggest them while in government. You were in government.
I was in government. So what if I was in government? I was talking about Mr. Sata, who did all those things, which he never did when he was Minister of Local Government, which he never did when he was Minister of that portfolio, which he never did when he was Minister of Health, which he never did when he was Minister of Labor. But when he became president, he was able to do those things. Our government is structured in a way that the president remains the ultimate of that governance, and that what the president wants passes. This is the vision I'm presenting to the country. Now, because Hamkwamu is so unhappy that his leader has failed to deliver what they should have delivered, now is to discourage those who have got a vision, those who've got a plan to deliver things in the manner that they should be delivered. Zambia is never short of leaders. Don't force us to only keep on looking at one leader, Mr. Hamkwamu. We have several people, even beyond me as Ari Kalaba. There is leadership.
Let me take some more calls. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning to you. Thank you for calling. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Thank you. Mukambana Chimwene Mtonga, known as the Wounded Buffalo. Lambo yavanga uko amene Hari Kalaba mutanje.
Ati mutumira kuti wa Mtonga.
Apa sofa ali kuchongwe ndeko yalili chimwene.
Oh, muli kuchongwe. Please, TMI,
Wahali Kalaba.
Muli bwanji wounded buffalo.
Wounded buffalo no chimwene mtonga.
Pitirizani.
Tipitirize wahali Kalaba kusankhale munthu okubwezerani kumbuyo. Just because of why government yathu yamene ma promises yanapakisa. The more yanapakisa, the more vashita destroy countries just because it's vanasevenzerepo pa ma promises. Onani muno ni murusaka tikwaniso survive just because every day timapeza peace week. Then muntu akadwara kuma clinic kumankhala kulibe mankhwala. Watimo kumunzi mweva vutikira kumunzi just because kulibe nkhani yango kulibe na transport ma ambulance government ya chaya ya vibaka yakuti government si kwanirisa si titengapo solution iliyonse but imwe ndimwe valida vetifuna mahali kala 2026 mkusirizisa government yathu yachita destroy vindu vambiri fuel inapeza pa cheap price yabwera yaikira fuel then yabwezako ka 1 kwacha ka 2 kwacha ka 15 mwe then manje yaikira futi again akopeze ngati tifuna ti government yathu tione ya 7 za mushe ibweze fuel pamene inayepeza 15 futi again dola ibwerere pa 17 then makambo bweza kwa hapa peve hapa aliyensa za celebrate Dokti ati we are celebrate minister celebrate chani ava just because wonse vevachita praise in president vatu ayo popishi wa nchito so come 2026 vahali kala vatifunani pa ground tutakuvoterani just
Thank you. Again, we at the tail end of that call we lost it, but I'm sure you got his conversation. Let me give you another call. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And how are you? Good morning, President Jerry Kalaba.
Good morning, sir. And what's your name, sir?
Yeah, this is Kingfred from Madidowad.
Kingfred.
Bakalaba simpa kushapo pale baeche chumunabo President of South Africa, Minister of Police, aisangire vale musenvestigate bamumfunya puno kumfunya nomba wa President wapata mcharo chesu muno Minister Super Masevo vakano kumusenvestigate na nomba tule umfama issues haya ma corruption and then they are busy cheating people at fighting previous corruption and recent corruption ama ministers ngababonga ba koti ma vala wapera tabawachanga ne Milan. So then the other issue why I think why I see a problem with you, Mr. Kalaba. Remember by the time we are working in Fedga Chabarungu, Yalari, Arikusure, number pack and change you came Pangre, Semulari, Moramona, and the people are anyway. If we pay sometimes vena kachinda vena given uvinda yafuta twakasumia zota vena given uvinda vaminina so utatire privu chakurati inva vari Kalaba bombeni na tonse alliance parikano kaisalamu na bonsa makaula zivare landa sati bombe chapa mo bonsa makaula zavatu vare miwesi ba tonse alliance nota tao para chimine toro tukesha bombe hapo ishafena tafya kabombe adini raski nani mona kona ka problem kama vari Kalaba because it comes from the same
we seem to be losing you, my friend Kinfred, but we got because of your question, I think we got your concern. To the contrary, let me give you 2 messages. There's one that is on our Facebook. Say it's from Sage Batizani, who says, "Wow, duty-free vehicles for all those that save 10 years and above for individuals and civil service. Wow, 2026 will be wonderful. Load shedding should actually end so that we have 24/7 hour economy with youths, and the economy is doing okay. Nobody tells you, nobody will tell you, but you will feel it. Zambia shall be great once again." Now, let me give you this, which is a bit contrary to what everybody else is asking you to do. This one is from Elias Shilangwa, who says, Kalaba can't join. He will not be adopted as presidential candidate there. All right. Let me give you this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, my name is Mape. I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Yes, Mape.
Good morning, President Kalaba.
Good morning, Mape.
I'm quite. My President Nalalanda Ichwemba. I think the reason why I want to speak Bemba because I think I want to emphasize my point, and therefore I'm you have the leadership qualities, and I'm very proud of you. Very young, intelligent, and you have all these qualities to really do something for the Zambian people. But I'll be very honest with you. I think our former president was a big factor. May he so rest in peace. Because if I look at the leadership that we have, all these leadership we have, our oppositions, to put them, no one would stand in. That I'm very honest with you, Kalaba. If you want to remove this government, none of you individuals would stand with the president is that strong. But you need to work together and say, all of you leaders, you need to sit down and choose one leader and rally behind that leader. Only then you will manage to remove this government. But HH will still rule for the next 5 years. That is my best opinion, and that is Kalaba. You have the qualities, but for now, just one leader. That all of you who support but in Amaranda, forget HH is going to go through for the next 5 years. Thank you, Zach, and thank you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
How are you today?
Give thanks to the Most High and you there.
Fine, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I think it's like a so that is express mushe in the Moses to me like on a banana.
Moses Kabanana, epitizana twa.
Yo, that on our president what?
Moses tiribu no mulibwanji kwa banana ko.
Yeah. Ine nifuno kamba ko che pali maridaji wa
Yeah, but Moses, your line is not okay. I think you are breaking.
Oh?
Yes.
Yeah, when come up the cinema kondako kumaridaji watu or ma politicians watu. The fact that they promise us things as Zambians and citizens, and then they don't deliver. So much that deliver with so no. With the TV motivation motion, the sima viona repeatedly. Maona kuri bonse ma politicians, ma leaders watu. The same thing but our current government, they promise us so many things, so not deliver. So in when come back on the kuri ma leaders watu, munga so chimane president watu wari Kalaba. That's it. Wafunika wanka na mtimo okonda Zambian because inga tibantu wapo isinchi to zawa 7 no tizabe uone kekunda ukamba tabe vitu. That's because you funa occupy deep down from the heart. Suga konda wajabantu. It actually because so much they really wanted because wajabantu suga konda from the heart. So as a leader, ufunika makonda muderive mushe because it was a very big stick. Yes, we know what we do and certain things, but as you such things, making us believe to that stick and to better our lives going forward. So and then so my prayer and hope Maridas what you see some other leaders, Mungo Ibrahim Traore, my citizens. I know you
yeah, we seem to.
And you price for people as well. You better our lives, our Zambians' lives.
Thank you, Moses.
Leadership. uzani vantu vintu vazoona ndi deliver vane mupromisa vantu.
Thank you,
And that's my
Moses.
contribution.
Thank you very much. That's our last call. Unfortunately, we have to allow you to respond, and then we can conclude. But as you respond, let me ask you a question, because I mean, going into 2026, you are very confident that you will get it, and also you are confident on the fact that President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND government will not be able to get 50% plus one.
No ways.
Are you saying this forgetting that you have been complaining as opposition the composition of the ECZ commission, that you think that it's a recipe for elections not being fair in 2026? And I think that this has been very consistent to say the setup at ECZ may not work in favor of the opposition going into elections. Your confidence is coming from the fact that you came out number 3 in the previous general election, where we didn't have complaints in as far as whether elections were unfair. But you are anticipating that elections will not be fair based on the composition of the ECZ. Are you having your confidence neglecting that fact?
Look, I'll tell you one thing for sure, that this Electoral Commission of Zambia requires a lot. They need to change their attitude completely. And I think the chairperson of the ECZ, Madam Zalomis, has to take note of what we are saying, because elections are a very emotive issue. And we expect the ECZ to act accordingly. There are a lot of issues that are happening within the Electoral Commission of Zambia and within these elections that we are having, why the ECZ looks the other way. Just earlier on, I was telling you, Zach, on the issue of what happened in Kimasala Ward, where they were grading roads during the elections. They were giving social cash transfer during the elections. The ECZ knows that those machinations are being propelled by the UPND to advantage themselves. And yet the Electoral Code of Conduct is against such kind of machinations. But the ECZ is allowing that to pass. We as Citizens First intend to have a meeting with the ECZ and bring out these matters, because forewarned is forearmed. Is right. We want the ECZ to behave like other colleagues of theirs who behaved themselves in the past. In 1991, we had the ECZ changed hands from the opposition, from the ruling party to the opposition. In 2011, power changed hands from the ruling party to the opposition. In the ruling party to the opposition. These Electoral Commission of Zambia officials and those who are working there understood the importance of allowing the people to air their grievances and to allow them participate freely. This Electoral Commission of Zambia we're going with in 2026 must know that they're not different. The people's will must be allowed to prevail. We don't want ECZ to bring confusion. We want them to behave themselves and do what is appropriate. And we are going to sit with them and tell them our complaints and tell them that, you know, you look to be favoring UPND more than any other political party. That is not your job as Electoral Commission of Zambia. Let the people decide. You are supposed to be a referee. You're an umpire. Just be fair. Follow the rules. Whoever is favored by the people of Zambia, allow them to go and govern, but don't make up your own rules. I think that is wrong. So the ECZ, we are very aware of it, and we can only encourage people out there to register as voters, register en masse, because power resides with you. When you register as voters, you express your power when you go to vote that time. So many callers have come. Bamwape was saying work together with all of you, and Shani. You know, this kind of thing of working together, everything, it has been there from time immemorial. But at the end of the day, Zambia has to do that which is right. And from our part, as Citizens First, we will reach out to everybody, Bamwape. Don't even worry. We'll reach out to everybody. Here where we have reached, we should develop, we should drop all these things of saying, I belong to this party, I belong to this organ alliance, I should belong. We should all understand that we are in the opposition. And as you've rightly put it, Bamwape, if we are going to defeat Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, we have to swallow our egos, we have to swallow our pride, and we have to admit that we have to hold hands. But that has to be done in a systematic way. That has to make us That should not stop us as citizens first, for instance, from going on to mobilize ourselves. Because even at that time when we'll be meeting our colleagues to see how best we can amalgamate our efforts, we should have already been on the way of making progress. And I agree with you, Bamutonga. This government has failed too many promises. And thank you for saying it's you we want. Thank you. At least Mr. Mtonga has categorically come out and said it is you that we want. I am here, Mr. Mtonga, and we are here as CF to carry your interests so that Zambia can be a Zambia that we all dreamed of one day. King Fred talked about the issue of the minister in South Africa, transport minister was suspended, and that here in Zambia, the fight against corruption has remained academic because some ministers in line ministries are only transferred from one ministry to another ministry. Take you to another ministry. What kind of discipline is that? What kind of discipline is that? Because if you are disciplining somebody, you need to drop them. You need to expose them to the Anti-Corruption Commission. But you just say, no, we are removing you from Ministry of Environment. You are going to Ministry of Finance. And you think someone will lose sleep over that? They have transferred me from Ministry of Labor to Ministry of Mines. They will not lose sleep. They'll continue with their bad habits. And bad habits die hard. So I think it also shows you the lack of seriousness with the fight against corruption by our government. They pay lip service to it. They only fight corruption when it suits them. When it doesn't, they will not persuade. So I want to believe that, as Moses has said, politicians promise a lot of things and they don't deliver. It's not every politician, Moses. Not all teachers are the same. But teacher tebamobene, Zach. Kwa dama bombesha, na bashibombesha. Bakapuka tebamobene. Corruption and others is like that. It's the same with politicians. There are politicians who condone corruption, Kalaba, who don't condone corruption. There are people that go in this thing for service to the nation, and there are others who go in politics to save their own interests. So we are not the same, sir. For first, what we tell you is what we are going to give you when you put us in power next year.
Your concluding remarks.
Well, first of all, I would want to share our numbers with our people, starting with my colleagues who are here. We want to share our numbers with people so that our people who want to join the Citizens First, who want to be part of what we are doing now, can immediately begin calling and joining us. So if you want to join us as Citizens First, you can call Mr. Aldridge Kawungo, MCC, is on 0976 701256. Mr. Aldridge Kawungo is MCC, Deputy Mobilization Chairperson, 0976 701256. Then if you want to get in touch with the Secretariat, you can also call 0977 779133. That's Madam Marjorie, the Deputy National Chair Lady. 0977 779133. Or you can even call me. I'm on 0977 794129. 0977 794129. We are grateful for the opportunity to be on the banning issue. Very, very grateful. And I want to tell you, Zach, that we have heard what the people want. We are going to work on what the people want. We are going to hold hands as politicians in different political parties, because what is necessary now is to ensure that we fortify ourselves in the opposition. We break these artificial barriers of if we're in favor CF, if we're in favor Tonse, if we're in favor Nan. We must learn to swallow our egos, as I said, and look at the bigger picture. And some of us are very radical. We have demonstrated selflessness before. When I resigned as Foreign Affairs Minister, for the sake of the nation, we are going to do what is right for Zambia. So those of you who think the CF, no, they'll just go solo, we are not going solo. That's why I told you that there are already other parties. But you also said, no, but what are those parties bringing? They are bringing people. Every party has got people. Every organization has got what it brings. It's value addition. We need to concentrate on understanding that divergency also has got an advantage for us. So thank you for having us. We'll continue pushing. continue until the Zambian people's dreams are realized. I thank you.
Thank you very much, President Hari Kalaba, the president of the Citizens First Party, was our guest this morning on our Burning Issue Tuesday edition program. And I would like to say thank you very much also to our partner radio stations, Tuta FM in Mansa. Thank you for carrying this program live. Live also was FM in Kapiri, Spice FM in Kabwe, and Platinum Radio in Ndola, and covering the rest of the Cooper Belt. Eastern Province was well covered for. We were live on Katete Radio and, of course, on our Facebook page as well. That is 5FM Radio Zambia. Well, that's all we had for you today. Thank you very much for having joined us. We will certainly be back this Thursday, God willing, with yet another edition of The Burning Issue. From all of us is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like.
apa mulu nokuchirapo mufule mwababa power studio itungira Jatex na ilunda papalu pia lwakuwina pabwangalo okufuma pali 25,000 kwacha ukufika pali 1 million kwacha ilyo lyonse mwabecha kuti mwawina ukufika kuli 5